Kia ora and welcome to Talking Dairy in 10. I'm your host, Jac McGowan from DairyNZ. This December, DairyNZ will host the 4th International Precision Dairy Farming Conference in Christchurch. This event brings together global experts and farmers to explore the latest technologies and innovations that are changing the way we farm, from sensors and automation to artificial intelligence and data-driven decision-making. With more than 120 presentations, farm visits and a farmer panel, it's a chance to see the latest research alongside real-world examples of how precision tools can lift efficiency, animal well-being and sustainability on farm. In this episode, Head of Science Nicolas Lyons is here to give you a preview of what's coming and who's involved. Welcome, Nico.
Kia ora, Jac. Good to be here.
Nico, could you start by explaining what precision dairy means?
Yes, so precision dairy is the use of technologies or data to either automate tasks on farm or to help farmers make better decisions on farm. So we know that farmers face a lot of challenges in the day-to-day. A lot of the tasks on farms are manual or repetitive. A lot of things go into making good decisions on farm. We know we have a challenge to attract and retain people in the industry. And some of these technologies or data solutions try to address some of those challenges to provide farmers with tools in order to make better decisions and make farming more profitable.
Awesome. Thanks, Nico. Now, this is the first time the Precision Dairy Farming Conference is being held in the Southern Hemisphere. Why is this such a big deal to have it here in New Zealand?
Yeah, so this conference has been held 3 times in the past. So it's been held previously in Europe and in the US. And as you mentioned, it's the first time that it's coming over to New Zealand. So it's the first time it comes to New Zealand. It's the first time it comes to the Southern Hemisphere. It's the first time that it comes to a pasture-based kind of system. So for us, it was really exciting to put up our hand to host this conference. It gives us the possibility of kind of attracting attention and a global audience to New Zealand. So by hosting a conference like this, we can bring experts from around the world to New Zealand. It allows us to interact with them, to learn from them, to know what they're doing kind of over there. And that can shape collaborations, partnerships, kind of better understanding of what's happening. It's also a possibility for us to showcase to the world what we are doing, both in New Zealand in the dairy industry, but also at DairyNZ. So having all those people kind of mingling for 3 days gives us the possibility of showing to them the great work we do. It's also a possibility for us as a country to show them kind of our landscapes and our hospitality. So overall, I think it's a win-win.
Brilliant. Sounds very exciting. The program is packed with international speakers, of course, also farm tours and technology showcases. What are some of the highlights that you're most looking forward to?
So the conference is a 3-day conference. So day 1 is the farm tour day. So we are offering attendees the possibility to visit 2 commercial dairy farms in Canterbury, farms that are adopting technology. And those days are mainly around seeing how technology is adopted on farm, to learn how farmers are using it, how they're making decisions, what are some of the hurdles that they've gone through when looking and adopting technologies. And then day 2 and 3 are at a conference venue. So the conference is being held at Te Pae, the new convention centre in Christchurch. And those 2 days are kind of back-to-back of talks from a mix of researchers, farmers, rural professionals, commercial companies, sharing the latest and the greatest in this world of precision dairy farming. So we've got a really good lineup of international keynote speakers coming to New Zealand for this. We've got some researchers from New Zealand speaking on the topic. Jenny Jago from DairyNZ is presenting as a keynote speaker. And then we have almost 120 talks from people from across 20 countries. There was a process that we run that they submit the topic that they want to talk to and a bit of a summary, and we then selected the best, and they shape a large part of the program. To me, probably the highlight is twofold. On day 3, so on the Friday, there is a farmer panel with 3 farmers, one from the Waikato, one from Canterbury, and one from Southland. And the idea of that panel is for them to share their journeys adopting technology, but really to challenge the audience of kind of what works, what doesn't, what do they need from research and industry, because at the end of the day, we're all doing kind of work for farmers and for the industry. So I think that's a really good session to hear from farmers. And then probably the second thing that I'm looking forward to is seeing the DairyNZ work presented kind of in this global stage. So seeing the team present kind of on their work and receiving that feedback and hearing the back and forth of the chatter around it.
Okay. And with so much happening in the tech space, how is DairyNZ helping farmers with tools and ideas that are practical and valuable on farm?
At DairyNZ, we have three main strategic priorities around productivity, adaptation and resilience, and sustainability and competitiveness. In all three of them, we kind of use technology, data, kind of analytics in order to try to address those challenges. So I always describe it that we use technology and data in two ways. On one hand, we do a lot of the research that we do is utilizing technology and data. So most of the research that we do kind of with animals on pastures, on soils, kind of on farm systems, we've got sensors and devices and data to collect and really understand what's happening. And that allows us to better understand how animals or pastures or soils are responding to different things. We use technology and data for that, but we also do a lot of research in the technology space specifically. So, for example, and I know you've had in the podcast before, Callum and Brian talking about the technology survey, or Paul Edwards and Lena Ferryman have been talking about the wearables study. So we do kind of a lot of research trying to understand what's happening around adoption of technology to try to really understand what our gap is in that space. So how can we really meet those market gaps and help address how technology is either developed or adopted, or where technology plays a role to address some of these challenges.
And I recall from that podcast with Lena and Paul that one of the things they get from the DairyNZ research is that kind of unbiased research about the impact of technology once it's adopted.
Yeah, so our role is trying to play in that space of really understanding, on one hand, what's driving technology adoption and what type of technologies are being adopted. So, for example, at the moment, we are looking at wearables or artificial intelligence to really understand kind of, okay, what's the drivers behind adoption of technology and what levels of adoption are we seeing, and then provide, in those cases that technology has been adopted, that independent kind of assessment of, is it really delivering those results? Where is the gap? What is the gap to be bridged? What could be done to bridge that gap? So it's really bringing that lens of what role could technology play, but then how do we maximize the benefit of it? And we put real kind of numbers and understanding behind it.
Yeah. And so for farmers who are listening, who might be on the fence about attending, what's the reason you would say that they should not miss this conference?
Look, I think it's one of those that it's probably one in a lifetime opportunity that you bring kind of a global audience to New Zealand to talk and spend 30 days on a topic that is kind of novel, exciting, changing and rapidly developing. So it's that opportunity of interacting with farmers from other countries, researchers from other countries, vets, consultants, commercial companies playing in the space. So it's an opportunity to get a better insight into the latest development from a science, but also from a non-farm kind of adoption. So it's a real conference that mixes both of them together. So it's a strong science and research element, but then a strong on-farm adoption and how to make it work kind of on the ground. So it's a unique opportunity that it happens in New Zealand and that audience is coming to New Zealand. So I would say that if you come, you should probably hopefully feel, challenged, inspired, enthusiastic about what the future of dairy holds in this space. The level of support that we've seen so far from people wanting to present at the conference, from sponsorship, like an event like this wouldn't be possible without the support of sponsors. So we have Platinum sponsor Halter, Gold sponsor Cow Manager and New Zealand Grazing Company, and Silver sponsors De Laval, Lely and Waikato Milking System, together with a huge range of other sponsors and exhibitors. So I would encourage anybody interested in this space and wanting to think a bit outside the square of what could be possible to really kind of lock those dates in your calendar.
And so how do people find out more? How do they register to attend?
Yeah, so if anybody wants to find more information, we've got a specific website for the conference that is precisiondairyfarmingconference.nz. There's also, if you look for Precision Dairy Farming Conference on the DairyNZ website, you'll be able to access more information. Registrations are already open and they're coming in. Early bird closes on Friday the 17th of October, so you can access registrations at a discounted rate there, and New Zealand dairy levy payers have a further discount rate before that date. So yeah, all our information is there, and just otherwise reach out for more information.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Nico. And thank you for tuning in to this episode of Talking Dairy in 10. If you'd like to know more, as Nico said, you can find it on our website. We will link to the web pages mentioned in this episode and list some resources at the end of the show notes. Thanks for tuning into this episode of Talking Dairy. Make sure to hit follow so you can keep up to date with our latest episodes. You can also keep up with DairyNZ News on Facebook, Instagram and LinkedIn, or go to our website and sign up for our fortnightly DairyNZ News emails. As always, if you have any feedback on this podcast or have some ideas for future topics or guests to have on the show, please email us at talkingdairy@dairynz.co.nz. Mā te wā, mō te ora, catch you next time.